for the government of Sierra Leone. Ms. Bangura has also served as the executive director of the National Accountability Groups as a coordinator, and as well as a coordinator and founder of the Campaign for Good Governance. She holds a bachelor's degree from Fowra Bay College in Freetown, Sierra Leone, and advanced diplomas in insurance management from the University of London and Nottingham University. I met Madam Zainab in the month of March at her home, where she was hosting the former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and a few leaders from across. And I just saw such a lovely leader, warm leader, and especially with a heart for young people. And I was meeting her for the first time, but guess what? She gave me her number, her personal number, and said, feel free to get in touch with me. I'm ready to support the work you are doing with young people, for young people. I have a heart for young people. And she's also been quite involved with one of our friends of Emerging Leaders Foundation called Emerging Public Leaders. Her name is Yawa Hansen Kwao. And so this afternoon, it gives me so much pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome Madam Zainab Bangura to share with us her heart. Please join me in welcoming her. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Karen. I really do appreciate you. First and foremost, I want to say how honored I am and privileged to be here. And I'm so young leaders are the future. It's not true. Young leaders are the present. The world is changing so fast that without young leaders, there's no way we can cope. You know, so if anybody tells you that, oh, the young leaders are the future leaders, you tell them no. We are the present leaders. I tease people in my office, I say, this world is ICT, we are the analog generation. You know, because without the young leaders and young people in my office, I can't cope. That's the reality. Without my son, I can't do anything. You know, so what I saw in Karen is somebody with a vision. For you to do anything in life, you have to dream. You have to dream that this is what I want. And you have to work towards that. It is only then can you achieve. So you have to have determination. You have to have the passion to say, I want to do this. And you have to express that. You know, I normally say, at the banquet table, there are no reserved seats. So if you believe that somebody is going to give you a seat and opportunity, forget it. You have to be at that table. At the banquet table, there are no reserved seats. Nobody is going to call you. You have to fight your way into that, and you make your voice heard, and you get them to understand and appreciate. I tell my staff all the time, you don't tell people what you want. They will give you what they think you want. And that's, of course, I want her to finish school. And the Minister of Education responded. They gave me a special scholarship. I was able to finish high school. I went to Form 6. I went to university. I graduated. And I went to high school, to university with 3 shoes, 1 slippers, 1 scoles, 1 sandal, with 5 dresses and 2 bedspread. You know, you know now you call it hand luggage. That's my suitcase I went to university with. I didn't care. I didn't join any university club because I can't afford it. I was determined to be somebody. I said to myself, I will be that person. It was a difficult and challenging joining, very painful. But I graduated. I went to university. I went to Nottingham University, City University. I became an insurance executive. Then the worst thing in my life happened. My mom died. The shock was unbelievable. But that's not the only shock. What changed my life? My father is a Muslim cleric. He abandoned us when I was 12 years old. We got him, he came. At that time, I'd had my son. I was living with my husband to be later. And my father said, I came with my then quote-unquote boyfriend, not yet married. We bought the ring and everything. My father said, what are you doing here? You don't have a business in this funeral. You know, believe it or not, I had to leave my mom's cup and go to the mosque and get married so I can give him the right to bury my mom. And I just said, this is not possible. I never knew anything about women's rights. I just knew there was injustice. How can this man who has abandoned us, my mother struggled for me, now I'm slowly picking my life, he can come here and dictate to me. I said, no way, this is too much. I took myself when I came to the city, I spoke to people, they said, go to UNDP. Took myself with my 2 feet and went to UNDP and asked for the head of UNDP. Turns out she's a woman, she's a Tanzanian. And I said, so I had a very difficult experience. I don't understand it. And I spoke to her, and then she smiled. She said, that's what we talk about women's rights. She said, since I came to this country, I've been trying to get women to sit down because you have a country wherein it respects traditional law, culture, the constitution respects traditional law, religious law, and of course the British law system. He said, but depending where you are, I happen to be in the north, which is the most traditional part, so my life is actually controlled by the traditional and cultural law and religious laws. So I said, what do you do? She said, I've been trying to get all the top women in this country to sit down and talk about it. He said, they have refused. I said, tell me their names. So you can see why I'm saying I have a lot of admiration for Karen. I said, give me their name. She gave. And I walked office to office. I said, we're going to discuss this. This is not possible. So I started. That's how I became a women's rights activist. As I was mobilizing this, we had a coup. And of course, you know, coup, the constitution is suspended, everything. And so they said to me, we can't do anything. We can't continue with this activity because everything has been suspended. I said, what is a coup? I became a democracy activist. I took to the streets. I led the campaign in my country to return to democracy, almost 3 decades. And everybody was shocked. I took the market women, I mobilized the whole country, and I led the campaign. The chairman of the election commission had lived in Sierra Leone in America for over 40 years. He just came back. He was completely lost. I just went to his office. I said, give me a desk and a chair, and I installed myself there, and I told my boss in insurance, give me time off. And I was there. When there's a problem, you tell me. I go there and solve the problem. The finance doesn't pay the money. I go to the Ministry of Finance. I run around. He was shocked. I said, we're going to have the election. We have the first democratic election for almost 30 years. And they asked me to be a minister. I said, I'm too young. I can't. Because I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just fighting. I just have the spirit to fight. Because I felt there was so much injustice. You know, and we had the election. They wanted me to be a minister. I refused. Going to monitor this government. What are we going to do? So I went to my boss and I said, sorry, but I think I had to take sabbatical and leave in the insurance.